Good evening and welcome to All 24 Nightly News coming to you live from Algiers. I'm your host, Karim Zachary, and up next are the top stories. Algerian president arrives in New York to attend UN General Assembly amid global challenges. Also coming up, search for Derna flood survivors in Libya continues as hope dims and investigation launched. Also ahead, Moroccans left homeless by earthquake seek urgent aid while Reef activists march in Brussels. And Sahel states form joint defense coalition amid ECOWAS military threat. And later in our news, USM Algiers makes history with African Super Cup win, and President Abdelmajid Tebboune congratulates the team. Hello again, and thank you for joining us. First off in our news, Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune arrived in New York, USA, to attend the 78th UN General Assembly session, as confirmed by the Algerian presidency. The 78th UN General Assembly convenes amidst a tumultuous global political landscape marked by unprecedented divisions and formidable challenges, as stated by the UN Secretary General. More details with Zahra Frajani.
World leaders are gathering up to descend upon New York City for the 78th session of the UN General Assembly, set to kick off from September 18th to 26, 2023. This year, the theme resonates with the call to action, rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity, tackling the formidable challenges that continue to grip the world on fronts like health and development. But the spotlight this time is firmly on security and stability. In the run-up to this monumental gathering, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has issued a powerful plea urging world leaders to put aside their differences and unite for a brighter, more effective tomorrow.
We will be gathering at a time when humanity faces huge challenges, from the worsening climate emergency to escalating conflicts, the global cost of living crisis, soaring inequalities and dramatic technological disruptions. And people are looking to their leaders for a way out of this mess. Yet, in the face of all this and more, geopolitical divisions are undermining our capacity to respond. A multipolar world is emerging, and multipolarity can be a factor of equilibrium, but it can also lead to escalating tensions, fragmentation, and worse. So to bring our multipolar world together, we need strong, reformed multilateral institutions anchored in the United Nations Charter and international law.
180.
And speaking of leadership, Algeria, the newest non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, is stepping onto the world stage with unwavering determination. Their mission to align with the United Nations in the pursuit of global peace and stability, advocating for the rights of nations within the international arena. Algeria's history is etched with remarkable moments of solidarity, dating back to 1974, when the late President Yasser Arafat sought support from Algeria to make his case at the UN General Assembly.
لقد جئتكم يا سيادة الرئيس بغصن الزيتون في يدي وببندقية الثائر في يدي فلا تسقط الغصن الأخضر من يدي.
The echoes of that support still resonate today as Algeria continues to champion the just causes of oppressed peoples, from the Western Sahara to the Palestinian territories occupied by the Zionist entity. Their commitment is clear: unwavering support for these nations and their sovereignty, as enshrined in the UN Charter. As a long-standing member of the United Nations for an impressive 61st consecutive year, Algeria plays a pivotal role in shaping international peace and security. Their strategic geographical location, their influential regional role, and their storied history of standing firm in the face of challenges all contribute to their diplomacy's reputation for being effective and utterly credible.
And in our other topical news, Libyan Attorney General Sadiq Assour has initiated an inquiry into the catastrophic break of two dams, resulting in a destructive flood in the coastal city of Derna. During a press conference in Derna, the public prosecutor confirmed that the investigation will encompass the dam collapses, including funding for maintenance, and will scrutinize local authorities in the city as well as past governments. Still with the same file, the death toll from the devastating floods in Derna, eastern Libya, has tragically reached 11,300, with an additional 11,000 individuals still reported as missing. An official from the Red Crescent Societies in Derna emphasized the severity of the situation, expressing concerns that the casualty count may continue to increase. More details in this report by Osama Ayati.
The death toll in the wake of the catastrophic floods that ravaged Libya's eastern city of Derna has now surged to a staggering 11,300 lives lost, with an additional 11,000 individuals still unaccounted for.
The water reached up to here. If I was here, it would have reached over my head. The merchandise fell over. We came here and took the merchandise out and found mud reaching up to our feet. Everything was covered with mud. Looking at the cans covered with mud.
Painting a grim picture of the situation, an official from the Red Crescent Societies in Derna has described the city's plight as nothing short of dire. The true extent of the tragedy is yet to be fully realized, as many remain trapped beneath the unforgiving mud, buried beneath heaps of debris, or swept away by the merciless sea.
Houses, cars are all gone. Even the children and men from the neighborhood are also gone. Two of my relatives have been lost. One has been found, and one is still missing. Over 20 cars from the area have been lost.
The United Nations Aid Chief has issued a chilling warning, stating that Libya is in dire need of essential equipment and primary healthcare facilities to avert the looming threat of a cholera outbreak among the survivors. Shockingly, the same source reveals that a staggering 900,000 people have been directly impacted by this cataclysm, with a projected death toll ominously creeping beyond the 20,000 mark.
Derna, a city of 100,000 people, 900,000 people affected, and this is on top of a situation in Libya where 300,000 people in Libya already needed humanitarian aid.
Meanwhile, the Libyan Presidential Council has offered a somber assessment, acknowledging that the scale of this disaster far surpasses the nation's limited human and material resources. They have made a heartfelt plea to human rights organizations and the global community, beseeching them to extend a helping hand to this flood-ravaged land in its darkest hour.
In Libya, where access to Derna is still so difficult, where there's a compounded problem of the problems of the dams breaking as well as the storm breaking from the sea, this is a tragedy in which climate and capacity has collided to cause this terrible, terrible tragedy.
Indeed, the devastating floods that have befallen Derna, Libya, have left a trail of sorrow and destruction that continues to mount, with the death toll climbing to a heart-wrenching 11,300 and thousands still missing. The city's residents face an unprecedented humanitarian crisis. The call for compassion, solidarity, and swift action echoes louder than ever. It is now up to the international community of humanitarian organizations providing the much-needed aid and support to a nation grappling with an unimaginable tragedy.
And in the same context, the Libyan National Unity Government has reported the arrival of 38 relief planes and 5 ships from 17 countries to aid flood-affected areas in the eastern region. These efforts include an Italian ship equipped with a helicopter and a Turkish ship expected in Tobruk's port. An air bridge between the east and west of the country is also underway. Similarly, Algerian rescue units are tirelessly searching for missing individuals and addressing health and environmental concerns in flood-affected Derna. Supported by divers, trained dogs and medical teams, the rescue units have recovered 36 bodies. And in the same context, Algeria sent 113 disaster specialists and humanitarian aid to Derna. The Libyan government helped transfer Algerian aid from Tripoli to Benghazi, including food, medical supplies, and shelter materials for eastern Libya flood victims. Algerian civil protection services successfully quelled 50 fires in 15 provinces nationwide. Among these incidents, they extinguished 11 forest fires, 16 jungle fires, and 18 bush and grass fires. Additionally, these services are collaborating with Algerian army units to combat 7 fires impacting vegetation in Bijaya and Tizi Ouzou in Algeria. A week after the devastating earthquake in Morocco, residents in the hardest-hit villages are still awaiting government assistance and relief efforts. In the village of Afour, for example, located in the Atlas Mountains, residents have resorted to traveling several kilometers to access aid provided by charitable organizations and philanthropic individuals. Islam Sid reports.
In the heart of this harsh environment, villagers in some of the most isolated areas hit by Morocco's earthquake rely on mules to walk on paved roads in the rocky Atlas Mountains so as to bring the vital supplies and aid for their families living in the open. Surrounded by mountains and being geographically isolated, this village has always been in need of vital supplies to support its residents. The earthquake surely made things worse. The convoy crosses up to 15 kilometers travel to reach the cut-off villages to obtain some of the contributions from donors.
We use donkeys to transport aid and goods because the road does not exist and we live in the mountain. People were greatly affected by this earthquake and they have nothing. We live in the open and we have nothing.
The suffering is clear in these villages, where already crumbling brick homes have turned into rubble by the recent earthquake. An entire week passed by since the tragic event hit, yet the vital aid promised by Moroccan authorities hasn't reached these distressed residents.
The state forgot about us. The electricity was cut off. I called them to fix it, but no avail.
Thank God we have something to eat now thanks to the contribution of donors. So far, Makhzen authorities have not done anything for us. Donors provide us with food and blankets. We have something to eat, but we have no housing. In the event of rain or cold, we could all perish. There are children here who suffer a lot as well.
The dire situation of these villages reflects the plight of countless others living in the Atlas Mountains. Hunger and the geographical remoteness compound their troubles, preventing the arrival of crucial donations that could bridge the gap left by the absence of Moroccan government assistance.
Still with Morocco-related news, on the 102nd anniversary of the declaration of the Republic of the Reef, hundreds of reef activists held a march in Brussels, Belgium. During the march, activists voiced slogans inspired by the reef movement and accused certain entities of exploiting the earthquake disaster for their own political gains. More in this report.
In the heart of Brussels, reef activists took to the streets, waving flags and raising the stakes on the 102nd anniversary of the Republic of the Reef. Their voices, loud and clear, echoed the call for independence and an end to occupation.
We want to establish our Reef Republic, just like our ancestors did in 1921. And for this occasion, we are here today to commemorate the 102 anniversaries of establishment of the Reef Republic. The most important demands that we are calling for as people of Reef Republic all consist of one demand, which is the independence of the Reef Republic. It's high time because people of the Reef Republic have reached the top of consciousness.
As they commemorated this historic occasion, a seismic event of a different kind shook Morocco, revealing the simmering discontent among the reef population. They refused the exploitation of the Makhzen regime to natural disasters for political gain, choosing unity over dispersal and hunger for their people. Activists argue that the kingdom's reluctance to accept some foreign aid is a strategic move, concealing what international media might unveil as part of relief efforts.
It is known that the Makhzen regime does not care about the Moroccan people in general, does not care about the people who live in dire situation due to the earthquake. One thing which is very important also is that this government does not want to be open for international media, for not showing the disasters that exist in the country and the reality of this government.
Since the tragic incident in 2016 when Mohsen Fikri lost his life in Al-Husayma, the RIF for rural movement has evolved, growing more radical in its quest for independence. To these activists, it's about turning demands into reality and achieving true independence.
To other Mediterranean news, in a bold and determined move, Tunisian security forces have launched a massive operation in the city of Sfax, leaving no stone unturned in their mission to stem the tide of migrants heading towards Italy and crack down on human smugglers. Simultaneously, more measures to curb the crisis are taken in Europe. Let's follow the report.
Backed by aircraft and anti-terrorism units, hundreds of Tunisian security personnel have converged on known black security points in Jebaniana, Kirkna and Sfax itself. As the operation unfolds, these dedicated forces have raided homes sheltering hundreds of migrants, intercepted trucks ferrying others towards the coast, and apprehended those behind these illegal activities. Meanwhile, Tunisian President Kais Saied is leading the charge, holding crucial meetings with key ministers and agency heads to address the growing crisis. Across the Mediterranean, Italy is also sounding the alarm, urging the United Nations to step in and address the mounting pressure from the influx of irregular migrants.
We need to take immediate and wide-ranging measures to deal with the growing problems of illegal immigration. We must move forward by returning people who have no right to remain in Europe. Europe cannot pretend that nothing has happened, and I'm convinced that France will understand our problems.
Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has pledged extraordinary measures in response to the surging influx of migrants, vowing to extend the time refugees can remain in asylum centers.
During
the cabinet meeting on Monday, the Ministry of Defense will be given a mandate to build facilities as soon as possible that will be sufficient to detain illegal immigrants. We will be given a mandate to build these facilities in very low-density areas that can easily be surrounded by walls and easily guarded. Through a European mission, including a naval mission if necessary, in agreement with the North African authorities to stop the departure of boats, assessing Africa who is or is not entitled to asylum and accept only those people who actually have the right to asylum in Europe, in accordance with the international agreements. The Italian government, through the involvement of the European Commission, worked on a cooperation agreement between Europe and Tunisia.
But it's not just Italy feeling the heat. Germany, after initially suspending a voluntary agreement with Rome, is now backtracking.
The recent arrival of thousands of migrants on the Italian island of Lampedusa means that Germany will eventually receive some of them. The reason we have suspended the operation is because Italy has shown absolutely no willingness to take back people under the Dublin Protocol. Now it is clear, of course, that we will fulfill the commitment we have taken for our responsibility in solidarity.
As the situation continues to escalate, the fate of thousands of migrants hangs in the balance unless more action is taken to shape better solutions to this crisis.
To other African news, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso signed a charter activating mutual defense and assistance. Mali's transitional president Assimi Goïta, along with his Burkinabe counterpart Ibrahim Traoré and military leader Abdurrahman Chiani, established the Coalition of Sahel States as a collective defense framework. This move responds to escalating threats of military intervention in Niger by the Economic Community of West African States, aka ECOWAS. Mali and Burkina Faso have warned of dire consequences considering such action as a declaration of war on Ouagadougou and Bamako.
The contracting parties will work to prevent, manage and resolve any armed rebellion or other threat to the territorial integrity and sovereignty of each of the member countries of the alliance, giving priority to peaceful and diplomatic means and, where appropriate, the use of force to address situations of breach of peace and stability.
And elsewhere in Africa, Sudan's Transitional Sovereignty Council President Abdel Fattah al-Burhan held talks with Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni to discuss bilateral relations and bolster cooperation between Sudan and Uganda. President Museveni received al-Burhan during his official visit to Uganda. They engaged in discussions aimed at enhancing cooperation across multiple sectors for the mutual benefit of their respective populations. And in the Middle East, in Beita, south of Nablus, numerous Palestinians experienced suffocation as Zionist occupation forces fired gas bombs at their homes early Saturday morning. Residents reported that the occupation forces entered the town around 1 a.m., besieged multiple neighborhoods, and damaged Palestinian property by breaking into numerous houses. Video clips shared on social media displayed the occupation forces firing gas bombs indiscriminately in Beita's neighborhoods. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, addressing the G77 plus China in Havana, emphasized the determination of the Palestinian people with the support of his group to overcome a century of historical injustice that has hindered their development and aspirations. He highlighted the Zionist entity's policies aimed at cementing its settler colonial occupation and imposing apartheid, calling for a united stand against such actions. To the latest updates in the Russia-Ukraine file, Ukrainian military announced on Saturday that their soldiers advanced through Adrevka, a village south of Bakhmut, and captured it. In response, Russian forces denied the claims and said that Moscow is still in control of Bakhmut and its surroundings. Here's Sofian Kinturi.
After a series of recent naval attacks, Ukraine announced its ability to launch more attacks with unnamed units on Russian ships. Ukrainian Minister of Digital Transformation revealed in an exclusive interview with Reuters that the country is poised for more assaults. He emphasized the astonishing surge in drone production, skyrocketing by over 100-fold compared to last year.
There will be more drones, more attacks, and fewer Russian ships. That's for sure. We have increased drone production by more than 100 times this year. I think there will be an increase of about 120 to approximately 140 times by the end of this year, if compared to the previous year.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces announced that they faced more than 20 clashes with the Russian forces on Friday and regained control of a village near Bakhmut, which remained an important city for both sides. For his part, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed that his country's forces has regained the control of the village of Andreyevka, confirming statements issued by his army earlier.
One more thing. A special mention should be made to the entire personnel of the security service of Ukraine, as well as our naval forces. I thank you for today's triumph. The invaders' air defense system on the Crimean land was destroyed. Very significant. Well done. Glory to all who fight for Ukraine, and thanks to everyone who helps.
On the other hand, Russia denounced the Ukrainian claims of capturing the village and announced in return that its air defenses shot down 2 Ukrainian drones over 2 areas north and south of Moscow. During its 3-month-old counteroffensive, Ukraine has reported slow, steady progress against entrenched Russian positions, retaking a string of villages and advancing on the flanks of Bakhmut without taking no major settlements.
And in other news, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, while departing for the United Nations General Assembly in New York, threatened to withdraw Turkey's EU membership application. He criticized the European Parliament's report on Turkey and accused Brussels of distancing itself from Turkey, with EU accession negotiations remaining stalled.
Dear friends, if you want to learn clearly and openly my evaluation, the European Union is making an effort to sever itself from Turkey. During this period when the European Union is making moves to sever itself from Turkey, we will make our evaluations regarding these developments, and after these evaluations, we may part ways with the European Union if necessary.
And speaking of the UN Assembly, we have just received this fresh footage of the Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune arriving in New York, USA to attend the 78th UN General Assembly session. As confirmed by the Algerian presidency, the 78th UN General Assembly convenes amidst a tumultuous global political landscape marked by unprecedented divisions and formidable challenges, as stated by the UN Secretary General. And finally, in our news, in a historic victory, the Algerian club USM Algiers won the African Super Cup for the first time in its history. With a 1-0 against Al Ahly of Egypt in an exciting match held at the King Fahd International Stadium in the Saudi city of Taif, USM won their second continental title with a few months after being crowned with the African Confederation title last June. Algerian President on the occasion, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, extended his congratulations to the team via Twitter, celebrating their achievement and wishing them continued success and happiness. Well, that concludes today's program. For more updates, check our social media platforms. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.